Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about the Qiblah. Why the Qiblah? Because I do believe Muslims are not facing the right Qiblah today, even today. Now, I do understand many Muslims, almost all of them, if you ask them whether the Qiblah is important or not, they will say it is not important. However, whenever they pray, they must face Makkah or Kaaba. Mouth is saying one thing, action is doing different things. Their actions are never synchronized with their mouth. This is the problem. But let us investigate. Let me begin with Surah Yunus, verse 87. Let us read. And we inspired to Moses and his brother, settle your people in Egypt in houses and make your houses facing the Qiblah, and establish prayer and give good tidings to the believers. So this is about Jewish people in Egypt facing Jerusalem as their Qiblah, just as Muhammad did for the first 13 and a half years of his prophethood. And so did Muslim. So for the first 13 and a half years, they were facing Jerusalem. And after he found out these Jewish people in, especially the one who's not Arabs, refused to follow him, he didn't like facing Jerusalem anymore. Now, he got kicked out to Medina. In Medina, he didn't want to face Jerusalem all of a sudden. Because a lot of Jewish people, even the Arabs, Jews, refused to follow Muhammad. In the beginning anyway, right? I know some of them they follow after, but in the beginning, they fought him even. They paid with their blood because they refused to follow Islam. And Muhammad, after a year and a half in Medina, he didn't feel like facing Jerusalem. He wanted to face Makkah, where he came from. He wants to face Kaaba. This is according to Sahih al-Bukhari. Let me show you the hadith. Bukhari, hadith number 4486, narrated al-Bara. The Prophet prayed facing Bait ul-Maqdis, i.e. Jerusalem, for 16 or 17 months, but he wished that his Qibla would be the Kaaba at Makkah. So, Allah revealed Al-Baqarah 144. Now, I want to I want to be sure that you understand this 16, 17 months in Medina. So he was praying towards Jerusalem in Medina. After 16, 17 months, he wished that his Qibla would be the Kaaba. This is according to Hadith. Now we go to Al-Baqarah 144. Let us start with 142. The foolish among the people will say, what has turned them away from their Qibla, which they used to face? Say, to Allah belongs the east and the west. He guides whom he wills to a straight path. This is also funny answer, you know. Why you change the Qibla and then, east or west belongs to Allah. So if that's the answer, why you face any Qibla at all? The Qibla should be everywhere you want. But anyway, Let's go to the next one. And thus we have made you a median community, that you will be witnesses over the people, and the messenger will be a witness over you. And we did not make the Qiblah which you used to face, except we might make evident who would follow the messenger from who would turn back on his heel. And indeed, it is difficult except for those whom Allah has guided. And never would Allah have caused you to lose your faith. Indeed, Allah is to the people kind and merciful. We have certainly seen the turning of your face towards the heaven, and we will surely turn you to a Qiblah with which you will be pleased. So turn your face towards Masjid Al-Haram. I want a few things here, okay? You need to, at least a couple of things here, you need to pay attention to. When it is the problem number one is when you worship God, it should be for pleasing God, not for pleasing. When I worship God, I want to please God, right? Not to please myself. But here with Muhammad, it's different. Instead of pleasing Allah, Allah pleasing him. So the worship is to please Muhammad. So that's why Allah changed the Qiblah towards Al-Masjid Al-Haram. Now you pay attention here. Al-Masjid Al-Haram. This is supposed to be the Qiblah in Quran. However, in Bukhari 4486, here you go, as you can see, the narrator here, Al-Bara, said he wished that his Qiblah would be the Kaaba. Now the Kaaba is not Masjid Al-Haram. Take a look at this. This is the Kaaba. People facing Kaaba because they follow Bukhari. They follow their hadith, which is good. But they're not actually following Surah Al-Baqarah 144. Because Surah Al-Baqarah 144 says you have to face Masjidil Haram, which is behind them. Okay, Masjidil Haram is now bigger. But before, it was smaller. Let me find a picture. Better picture. So look at this. This is supposed to be the picture. The whole complex here is Masjidil Haram. So people should, I know this is a new one. The real Masjidil Haram is very, very small. Maybe a little bigger than Kaaba, if anything. Or maybe smaller than Kaaba, I'm not sure. But very small. About the size of Kaaba. This is a modern one. They make it bigger so Saudi can make more money from pilgrimage. So the people are supposed to face Masjidil Haram, not Kaaba. Muslims always say Quran is the highest authority. If Quran says the opposite, you have to follow whatever Quran says, no matter what, because Quran has the highest authority. But in practice, nothing Muslim do from Quran. Muslims do not follow Quran. From the Qiblah, from the Zakat, from the Hajj, from the Tawaf, from the Wudu even. From the prayers, how many times they pray a day? They never follow Quran. Why? Because everything is hadith, including the Qiblah. So now, instead of facing Masjid al-Haram, which is supposed to be this, now they're facing this. Because if you're inside, you're supposed to face this. You're supposed to face out, right? When you're inside here, you're supposed to face this way, this way, this way. You understand my point? Because this is Masjid al-Haram. But instead of facing Masjid al-Haram, they faced Kaaba because of hadith. Because of hadith. Imagine that. So, I do not believe any Muslim pay attention to this. Well, they don't care. Because they don't even read Quran, they recite Quran. Anyway, that's all from me for tonight. Thank you very much for listening. Whether you're facing the Qiblah or the wrong Qiblah, God bless you all. Have a nice life.